Well, hello there, everyone. Today you have chosen the path of the stupid. Welcome. You have found the way to my photography tutorials in terms of racing games. I have asked people whether they would watch it, and about 90% said yes, so I am going to do those tutorials. This is my third try of recording this because the first try was interrupted. The second try, I finished it, but it was in a wrong format, so I have to do it all over again. But that is not a problem, since I want you all to learn. So, how is this all going to be set up? Yeah, this is the first episode of the whole thing featuring all the in-game stuff, like photo settings, where you place your car, where you place your camera, and such things. Second episode is going to be Lightroom edits, so you can do it either on your PC or on your phone, just so you don't go away when you want to do it on your phone. Now, you can do it on both. I'm going to show on the PC, but the same settings as the thing has on PC, Lightroom on the phone has as well, so don't worry. Third part is going to be stance edit, so taking the car, slamming it to the ground, and putting other wheels on it with Photoshop or any other photo editing program. And after that, the fifth part of the whole series is going to be body kit edits, so bumper removal, bumper replacement, body kits on the thing, and such things, and so on. And because they require some more stuff than the stance edits. And final episode is going to be about multiple car shots. Still deciding whether I'm going to do that episode, but it's about where you place two cars, where you place the camera when you have two cars to shoot, because that, in my eyes, is always a little bit more difficult than just having to do with one car. So, let us start off with this one, shall we? So, starting off with the first topic of the day, which is car placement. Where do you place your car? Let's say you place your car in the middle of a road and you go into photo mode. On the left of the road, you have grass, you have fields, you have a few trees in the background far away. On the right side of the road, you have some bushes, you have a fence, and then there's grass and fields and maybe trees far away. That is exactly not what you want. You want your car to be somewhere more exciting, and exciting is the word that's going to be very often in this video, because you want, in general, your whole photo to look exciting and not boring. So how do you get that excitement? In terms of car placement, you get the excitement by placing it somewhere interesting. So not on the road, on the flat road with nothing else. You want stuff in the background. Here, for example, we have buildings in the background. You can also go into a forest or on a forest road. Then you have trees in the background. So you have the excitement in the background, but also you have the excitement on the car, because if you look at the car now, you see on the left side of the car and also on the rear, on the boot, you see reflections of the surroundings. If there are not really any surroundings but grass, there are not going to be any reflections on the car. Why do you want those reflections? You want the photo to look real. You want to make it look like a real photo, and no matter what you take a photo of, if something is shiny, it has reflections on it. And if you take a photo of the car on a road with nothing around it, yes, there's not going to be any reflections, but you also do not want any boring photo, don't you? You want to have an exciting photo, so you don't even go there in the first place. Here, for example, now you see reflections of the buildings in the background on the roof, which is one thing you definitely want. And you can also see a difference. There are the reflections of the building. There's not only reflections. If you, for example, look at the left side of the roof, you have it darker than the right side. So you want differences in brightness. You want shadows on your car, and you also want parts where light is on your car. So you want stuff to cover up the sun or the sky partly, not fully, but partly, to make the whole thing more exciting. And yes, the stuff up there is going to pop up very often, but shh. So, question now, what are the places you want to take photos at? Now, that's fairly simple. You want places where stuff is around the car. Stuff that is not grass, but stuff that reaches higher up in the air, so you can also already see it. You want things to be in the shot that are not the car only. You want your car, and you want other things. We have different things. We have more than just the car in the shot. That is what you want. You want more than just the car. So now, where do you find those places? You can either go into Edinburgh, which is a good place if you find, like, for example, where I am here, that is pretty good for photos. Then you can also go, like, pretty much everywhere where there's buildings around. So you have reflections of the buildings, you have shadows on your car from the buildings, and you have also light. But what I like to do more is go into forests, like for example the Lakehurst Forest here, or the forest around the quarry, or just everywhere where it's trees. Also a good spot is down here, right, this road here. That is an awesome spot for photos. This road as well as this road. Those are awesome for photos, but I'm not going to use it today. I'm going to use this road right here, the white one, to show you the rest of the photograph magic. So, we are now in the forest, and as you can see, there is light and there is shadows on the side, and yes, it does look awful, but that's thanks to Forza, and you can't change anything about it, so you have to live with it, and well, that's not going to change. As well as you see light and reflections on the rear right corner of the car, which also makes it look more realistic again. So, what else do you have to take a look at when you take photos? Photo settings. Now, your photo settings, you want to have them as real as possible. Some people have them so good set up that the photos they take in game, they look real. Like they were real photos in real life. But I am not one of those people. So how do you find good settings for yourself? Well, that's simple. Fairly simple. You look at settings from other people whose photos you like. You ask them for their settings, or they show them off at some point. And you copy them and change them. Because maybe you don't like the contrast. You want more or less contrast. You don't like the color as much. You want to reduce the color or raise the color. So now that we have photo settings, we have something else that is that is very important for your photos to make them look real. So what is the thing that makes the photos look even more real? That is quite simple. You see, this photo now is sharp. The car's sharp, the background sharp, the foreground sharp. The whole thing is sharp. But you don't want that. That doesn't say put it all, make it all blurry. No. It means use aperture. Aperture, fairly simple, explained, blurs everything you have not focused on. Simple. Here, since my game is in German, I am already on aperture, and it's on 0. So let's turn it up to around 15, and you already see the difference. The trees in the background, the road in the background, even the back of the car is already a little bit blurred. The foreground, not so much yet, but that's because of my camera placement. So, you see, you want to use aperture, and what you definitely want is to find a balance between not enough and too much. I, for one, use 30 aperture on most of my photos because I think it looks real. It works for full body shots, and it works for close-ups. For close-ups though, sometimes I would recommend turning down the aperture even a little bit. But for me, around 30 works. Maybe you want more, maybe you want less. That's all on you. You have to find how, like the settings in general, you want to find out how much aperture you want on your photos. Too much makes it look too blurry, not enough makes it to look unreal, weird, because everything is focused on. That is what you not want. You don't want it to look unreal or weird in some way. Next thing I want to talk about is camera placement. There are bad camera placements and good camera placements. You all can guess if you want, and for Christ's sake, if you are people like that, write it in the comments, I don't care. But what kind of camera placement is that? And everyone who thought bad is correct. This is a bad camera placement. Why? Because that is pretty much exactly what you see when you play the game. You see the rear of the car, you see a little bit of the boot, and if we raise the camera just a little bit, you can see the roof as well. So this is pretty much what you can get when you turn off the HUD and just take a screenshot while racing or while playing the game without even the photo mode. So what makes the photo more interesting? Simple. In this case, you see more than one side of the car. You see the right side and you see the front and a little bit of the bonnet as well. So you see more than just one side. Already makes it more exciting than just the flat side. I've seen people post pictures of the car from just the rear, like the game's angle, and I was so confused because that is nothing special. Everyone can take photos, but not everyone can take good photos. Another rather important thing about camera placement, which makes it all as more exciting as well, is where you look at. So pretty much where you have the camera, where you have the car and the photo. You can have it centered like this, but it's again not what we want. We want the photo to be exciting. So in this case, we just look a little bit to the left and raise the camera up a bit. So the car now is in the bottom right corner of the whole photo. So you have on the left, you see the surroundings a little bit, and that again makes it more exciting. You have more than just the car. You have the surroundings. You have trees, or if you place the car somewhere else, you have buildings. Again, more exciting. That is pretty much it about the first part. But there's one little secret I want to still share with you all, or for the people who are still here, because I'm certain there are some people who went out during the video. You see how the car seems to get smaller during the left, the right side here, and towards the left it gets smaller. That looks, on the one side, realistic, on the other side a little weird. So how do we solve that? We move the camera back and we zoom in. We're gonna focus again using X, and we don't have that weird squishiness of the left side of the rear end of the car. Yes, it does still get smaller, but not as much. That's also something you may want to consider, moving the camera out, zooming in, but not too far, because at some point the difference of the distance to the camera is so small that everything is sharp, and not only the car, so also the background. That is it. That is what I can teach you today. And yes, that was the video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and hey, maybe we're going to see each other in the next one. Until then.